Hi everyone, it's Jeanette here from the Sewing Studio with another finished quilt. Now, a little bit of a surprise because we did the tutorial where I was free motioning around the flowers, and I also showed how we straight stitched in the piano keyboarder. But I said I'm actually going to have to quilt this anyway, so why don't we keep the cameras rolling and then we can get some sort of live action, as it were, for me actually quilting the quilt. So we've got some extra content and we've done that little video for you as well. So you'll actually see me in real time doing some of the free motion, talking to you while I'm doing it as things sort of occur to me or as things come up. I'm explaining what I'm doing. So we did all sort of the, I think I called it squiggly or wiggly quilting at the time, but the meander, basically, just a very simple free motion quilting pattern. We also went around some of the flowers. I did some of the flower centres. So we just captured all of that as an extra bonus project for you so that you can have a look, see, as I said, in real time how I do that, so that you can perhaps give it a go and feel like you have a little bit more information on that. So just a reminder, this was the Woodland Wildflower panels. Gosh, that was a tongue twister. This was the cream version, so we also had the dark charcoal version, and we did these both as kits with the 8 fat quarters. The finished quilt came out at 44 by 52, so a nice sort of little wall hanging size. So I hope you enjoy the extra content, and I hope you'll join us again here next time in the Sewing Studio. Hi everyone, we've got a little bit of an extra video. Now I've got all the free motion quilting to do on this quilt, and we thought we would just film it, video it for you, because we thought there might be some bits that you might find useful, and if I sort of do something that you think, oh, what's she done there, I'll try and sort of say as I'm going along, but mostly it should just be me free motioning, and let's see if we can get this done. So without further ado, let's just, less of the chatting, get on with the quilting, Jeanette. Okay, so as for always, I will just introduce you in. I'm just going to drop my needle and pick up that bottom thread because we want that bobbin thread up the top, out the way. Now, can I grab it with my gloves? No, I always make that mistake. Put your gloves on after you've brought your bottom thread up. Oh, it's only just coming through. There we are, got it. Right, now we can put our gloves on. Now I've got the quilt just sort of folded up here, so hopefully I've got it loose enough that it will move fairly freely. And I've picked a spot on the quilt where I'm going to go around a small flower, and where I finish, I'm going to be able to go straight into my next big flower. So I'm reducing how many times I need to start and stop and break the thread, basically. So I'm just going to lower my needle where we've pulled those threads out, make sure the foot is down. I've done a little test piece first just to make sure I'm happy. My stitch length is on a 3.0. We've got the stitch regulator in, and we're just going to fingers crossed, and here we go. Now I'm just finding there's a bit of resistance in the quilt there, so I'm just going to fold that out of the way a little bit more. Now I'm going to make an executive decision here because I think I'm going to do some little squiggles in some of these plain areas. So rather than breaking thread, I think I'm just going to come and free motion out, and I think I'm going to pick up this leaf and use that leaf to travel down to this next blue flower and then go around that one. So I just need to position that quilt again. I'm not going to worry too much about that little slip. In the grand scheme of things, you probably won't see that too much. Now I'm just going to stop and take a look at where I want to go next, and I don't think there's anything really close by for a minute, so I'm actually just going to do a couple more stitches and join up there, and then I'm going to choose to stop there. So I'm leaving some nice long tails on the threads so I can tie these in later. Yep, I think I'm quite happy with that. So let's choose where I'm going to go next. Let's pick, as we're doing this side, let's go up and do this blue flower here. And if I start there, let me put that under the camera, I can go all the way around and then use that to travel into the grey flower as well. So let's do that. Let's try that again. Didn't grab the bobbin thread. Yeah. All right, gloves back on. just noticed I was really concentrating then. I had my concentration face on. Okay, let's go across to this flower. Now if I start somewhere like there, I can go all the way around and then travel down into this second mustard coloured flower. So let's start there. And when I'm doing the shapes, I'm sort of making some executive decisions about, I'm just keeping the shape of the flower-ish. I'm not trying to follow it exactly. I'm just sort of making the rough shapes. And we'll take this out from under the machine in a minute and see how we're doing. And here we go again. Now while I'm at this green flower, I actually think it'd be a good idea to go round it and then join up this mustard flower again over here. Now I've got two choices here because I've come back to where I've started I can either sort of go off and free motion in all of that, but I think I'm actually going to break the thread and then pick it up again over here. But I just wanted to finish off that flower rather than leaving that completely unquilted. So let's just break thread. Let's just take one glove off. This panel's really good because it's a bit of a sketchy design anyway, so if your quilting's not absolutely perfect, it's really not going to matter. All right, so I'm going to pick that up again. There. Right, I'm going to take the quilt out from under the machine and I'm just going to see how it's all looking so I can make some decisions about what to do next. So I've taken the quilt out from underneath the needle just to see how it's all looking, and what I've decided is I've gone around quite a few of the flowers. I've still got a few more to do, but where I've got some with some landlocked areas in between, I'm just going to do some squiggly free motion. Squiggly, that's the official the official title, some squiggly free motion in some of those landlocked areas just to fill in some of that, and also sometimes, you know, to stop getting too bored just doing one thing all the time. So I'm going to pick up my bobbin thread again. Oh look, I was making that mistake. And then that, and then it's hard enough to grab it with my fingers, let alone when I'm wearing my gloves. I do with a little pair of tweezers. Anyway, got it. So we're just going to fill in some of the areas in between some of the flowers we've already gone around the outside of. And it's really easy with the stitch regulator because it makes it really controllable, and I can stop and adjust my speed and go quite carefully. So I'm just focusing when I'm making a line that I'm not keeping it straight, I'm just sort of throwing some curves in there. I'm just going to move my hand because I felt like I hadn't got the control I needed. Now I'm just going to move the quilt so I can see what's behind. I haven't got very good visibility there, so I'm just going to lift the foot, leave the needle down, because what we can do is just move that quilt. Now I think I'm actually going to bring that to a stop just here in a minute. There we are. Just lift the needle. Now I did debate whether to come along here, but I've already got 2 lines there and I don't want it to get too thick, so I'll quilt this bit separately when I come to do this top area. This is actually going quite quickly. Now I think while I'm in this top area, I can fill in this bit and do some of this whole of this top corner. Now I've got a couple of choices when I come to this sort of printed sort of seed head here, but I think what I'm going to do is just squiggle around it, and that in itself will pop the whole thing forward. So I'm going to carry on doing my squiggling free motion, and the same with this piece of flower here. So that in itself will sort of get done as the texture goes into the background. So I think that's the bit I'm going to do next. I'm going to start, I think, over here in this area, come out, probably go up as far as about there, because I can always fill in from the other side when I come to do that other section, and then come and do this top corner. And I think I might have just unthreaded my needle. Oh no, it's a tiny bit there. There we are, got it. So I'm going to start somewhere about there. And all the time when I'm free motioning, I'm always sort of looking slightly ahead of where I want to go. So I'm sort of in my mind mapping out my route. Just see my quilt moving there, so I'm just going to stop and bring it back onto the surface because I don't want the weight of the quilt to be working against me. There we are. Now I think I've got to a place where I don't really want to cross over the black. So I'm going to stop there. And then I'm going to take it out again and see how it's looking. I tend to do this quite a lot. Take it out, stand back, check, see how it's going, see if I'm happy before I go on. So I'm just going to do that a minute.